Alright, we've already assembled our Automata box. I'm in my Automata folder. So now we're going to create the camshaft with the crank handle on it to turn the cams. So I'm going to click Create, Document, and I'll just call this camshaft. Alright, I'm going to work on the front plane. It doesn't really matter which one we use. But this way, when we import it to our box, it's going to be facing in the right direction, and it'll make the mate a little bit easier. So I'm going to click on the front. I'm going to click Sketch. And I'm going to turn these off. They're just a distraction to me. I'm going to click on Front. I'm going to come up here on the left side, click on Rectangle. Doesn't matter if we use corner rectangle or center. I'm going to left click and drag. When I release, I want to make this 1/2 inch wide and 2 inches tall. And I want to extrude it 1/2 inch. It defaults to 1. So I'm going to put in 0.5. Alright, so click on isometric. That gives us this nice box right here. Alright, now we're going to have a 6-inch shaft coming off the bottom of the box. So I'm going to click Sketch, click Front. And I'm going to come up here and click on the front of the cube just so it gives me this nice rectangle here. I'm going to click on the circle. Now I want it to be centered. If I come down on this line and I slide over, when I get that little square right there, if I come straight up, it gives me that dotted line. That lets me know that I'm centered at least left to right on the square. If I wanted to center it on this side, I could also come up, and find the center and then slide over, and that'd be. But I don't want it centered in the rectangle, so I'm just going to come down here, left click, drag out. Now I want this 3/8, so I'm just going to do 3 divided by 8, enter. Well, let's try again. 3 divided by 8. Alright. Now I'm going to come up to the dimension. I'm going to click on the outside edge of my circle. I'm going to click on the bottom edge of my rectangle. And I'm just going to make that 0.1 inch. Okay. So now I'm going to extrude. I'm going to click on isometric so we can see the extrusion there. Again, it defaults to 1 inch. I want this to be 6 inches. All right. So that finishes that part. Now I need to put the little handle on the back so that we've got something to grab onto when we turn it. So I can use the arrows on my keyboard, or I can use the arrows up here and just kind of turn it around so I can see the back. I'll click Sketch, click on the back. I'm going to click on the back there. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the back side at the top that I did on the front. So I'm going to click on my circle, slide over here, find the center, come down. I'm going to do 3 divided by 8. Now I'm going to dimension it again. Click on the edge of the circle, the edge of my rectangle, and make that 0.1 inch. I'm going to click on extrude. It defaults to 1 inch. That's what I want. Alright, so I've got my handle now. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to click on the onshape. It takes me back to the screen where I've got my box. And now I've got the camshaft there, and it takes it a minute to generate a preview, but that's alright. So now I'm going to double click on my box. Now I want to insert the camshaft, so I'm going to click on insert. Now because this assembly was in the Part Studio where I built the box, I've got the pieces to my box right here, but I don't have the camshaft. So I'm going to click on Other Documents. Now I can click on Created by Me. That's going to show everything that I've done, or Recently Opened. So I'm going to click on Recently Opened because then that's just going to show me the newest one. Since I just did the camshaft, that's going to be at the very top. So I click on that. Now it wants me to create a version in camshaft, which I'll do. This is V1, that's version 1. And so I'm going to create that version. Oops. What was that? Right, now the way that we move the part over, just like we did the parts of this, I just left click and release. You don't hold the button down. And I'm just going to kind of drag it over here beside the box. Click again, and it's there. Now this time I don't want to use the fasten mate, I want to use the revolve mate. Okay, so it's up here kind of at the top. It's got little arrows kind of going around it. If I put my mouse over it, it says revolve mate. So I'm going to click on that. Now I want the end of my camshaft to be flush with the outside edge of this plane. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to click on that center point at the end of the camshaft. Come over here. Click on the center point. And it lines up. So if I rotate this around, let's bring down a little bit. Oops, a little bit too far. So now if I grab this, and my computer's running a little bit slow, but anyway, you can see that my handle moves. Okay, and so that's what we're looking for. We want to make sure that when we get this put in there, that our handle's able to move. If it doesn't move, it may be because you did a fasten mate instead of revolve mate. So you just back it up and redo it with revolve mate.